What a rookie move. G'day there guys. Today I've decided to go down south. When the border restrictions opened up in WA, I took the opportunity of going out east, which you would have seen in my previous video. If you haven't checked that video out, I'll link it up the top here somewhere. So this is really the first chance I've had to go down south, and I really miss the southwest region of WA. It's a beautiful area, lots and lots of places to photograph. I left Perth at around about, or just after lunch, so it's coming up to around about 20 to 4, and I'm going to get to around about Dunsborough by about 4:30. The sun is due to set at 5:20. Doesn't give me a lot of time if I'm going to get a sunset this evening. My plan for the next couple of days is to check out more of the coast along the Lewin and Cape Naturalist coastline. But if I'm going to get a sunrise tonight, I'm thinking I might have to go to somewhere a little bit closer to Dunsborough. Maybe a spot that is a little bit more familiar to me. So I think at this stage the plan is we're going to go to Sugarloaf Rock. Through the magic of video editing, I could have cut straight to this scene with me walking into the shot, tripod in hand, about to look for a composition. However, in the spirit of sharing the reality of these trips, here's what really happened. I forgot my tripod. Okay, I'm going to leave my stuff here and I'm going to race back and grab my tripod. What a rookie move. Right, I don't know whether this will make it into the vlog actually. I've got a beautiful sunset, or beautiful colour at least, as the sun just approaches the horizon. And I found a little spot, but of course, what did I forget? Tripod. So I've just had to make a dash back to the car. Luckily it's not too far, but it's just these rocks that I have to clamber over, and I'm not as fit as I perhaps should be. Anyway, see you back there. Right, so I've got the tripod pretty much in place, and now all I need to do is grab the camera. I might grab a few filters as well, because I'm not too sure. Obviously here the challenge is the contrast, the difference in the light between the rock and the sky. All right, so I'm going to start off at around about f10, and my shutter speed, I'm going to try and get as close to around about a quarter or a third of a second. It's not too bad. It is not too bad. ISO 64, but the sky is a little bit blown out. I'm losing all of that colour, and probably the foreground is a little bit too dark. So what exposure do I need to be at? So I need to at least put on a polarizer. So we'll just go and grab that now, because these are my spare mounting rings. That's better. So I've got the mount, the Lee mount, just with the polarizer on there at the moment. Just to cut out the glare in the foreground. There we go, that's made that a little bit better. I'm getting a little bit of vignetting anywhere between 14 and 16 mil, so I'm up closer to 17 mil now. I may actually need to take three shots here, 3 different exposures. One exposure just for the water, and that'll be at a third of a second. I probably need to have a slower shutter speed just to get some of the detail in the rocks, because even at 1/3 or 1/4, the rocks are just too dark. So I want to bring up some of the detail in the rocks, and then I'm going to need a much quicker shutter speed for the sky to be able to capture all that colour. The sky at the moment is really kicking off, so I'm going to quickly grab that sky. I must admit, probably around about a third of a second is pretty good for the sky. Yeah, so I've taken a couple already for the sky there. And I'm just waiting now for the right wave. It's actually a little bit blown out. You can see on the histogram that it's a little bit blown out to the right. All the colour is over on my left, and this rock, the majority of the rock is actually on my right, so I'm trying to centre it but still keep some of the colour over on the left, which is just a little bit of a challenge. The other challenge that I've got is the sun has set on the right hand side. I'll just wait for this wave. The sun has set on the right hand side, and so there's a lot more light in the sky on the right, and over on the left it's a lot darker. But I could fix that in post with just a graduated filter in Lightroom, just to bring up the exposure a little bit and even out that light in the sky. Yeah, the polarizer isn't having a lot of effect in the sky, which is pretty good. But it's actually quite interesting because just the way in which I've composed it. Sugarloaf Rock, missed it. Or maybe. Sugarloaf Rock looks like it's actually glowing because the sky around Sugarloaf Rock is quite light. I think I'm going to change my composition. I'm just not happy with this composition. I think what I'm going to try and do is go around a little bit to the right and just see whether I can get something that's looking a little bit better. Might try and get a little bit higher as well. Come on, rocks, give me my tripod back. This is where I've got to be careful because these rocks are slippery. Okay, now I'm likely to get a little bit wet here, but I think this is going to be a better composition. And I've got a nice seat here to make it a little bit more comfortable. Okay, I'm going to chuck a 6 stop on there. Hard grad to start off with. 6 stop hard grad. And now let's bring that up. All right, that's not too bad. I like that. I've got some rocks in the foreground that I should be able to pick up. All I now need is the right light. I don't think there's a wave coming, is there? Oh, I just don't want to miss this shot. That might have been the one. Here comes another wave. Come on. So as you can see, as I'm taking this shot, I'm not actually looking at the camera anymore. I should have the cable shutter. I might actually just go back and grab the cable shutter quickly, but once I've got all the camera set up, I'm actually looking around the camera and looking at the waves itself. Here we go. And what I'm looking for is an even distribution of the waves kind of pushing through the rocks there. I don't want too much water, but obviously I've got to have enough water for it to be dramatic. That wasn't too bad either. I'm starting to lose some of the light, unfortunately, out the back. The sun will have gone down probably 10 or 15 minutes ago. This is a good one, isn't it? No. See, they look good, and then they kind of peter out. There we go. This will be a good one. Yeah, so what I'm after is, I'm after the water to come up and over right there. That was a good one. I want to have some of the detail of the rocks in between where the lines of the water come through. I reckon that for me is the sweet spot for the shutter speed and the timing of the water as it comes over. Might quickly just go and grab my cable shutter. So as you can see, I'm on ISO 64. I'm right out now at f5.6. It's actually quite a shallow depth of field, but the rocks that are at the bottom of the frame, or the bottom of my image, aren't any closer than about 4 or 5 meters. So that's not too bad. And of course, I'm focusing on one of the middle rocks there, and then I've got Sugarloaf Rock in the background. host of things went wrong there. I think I was rushed in the end, which is a little bit unfortunate. Couldn't really find a composition that I was happy with. Leaving my tripod back in the car was a bit of a rookie mistake. Wasn't too sure whether I was going to use filters or not. Yeah, just everything just seemed a little bit harder, and I don't know necessarily why. Maybe it was the break that the shutdown has given. I haven't been able to get out with my camera as much, so it just isn't as fluid and as easy. The takeaway here is that just continuing to practice, refining your art, your landscape photography, continuing to be familiar with the camera that you're using, and just refining your workflow, making sure that you methodically go through, have I got all my gear, is my camera set up for the sorts of photography that I'm going to take. See, the last time I used my camera, I think I was actually taking some astrophotography with the car and the camp setup, so all of the settings were completely not suited for this sort of landscape, seascape scenario. So I was having to suddenly move my ISO around, I was changing my aperture, trying to work out the shutter speed. In between all that, I was trying to work out whether I was going to use filters or whether I was going to bracket, and then of course, in the middle of all that, I realized that even though I had probably got to the location on time, I certainly wouldn't want to have got here any later. Leaving the tripod in the back of the car just was a bit of a mistake, because I came down here and I'd kind of scouted around and worked out what sort of shot and the location that I wanted to shoot at, and then when it was time to set up, there was no tripod, so I had to go back to the car, which took another probably 7 to 10 minutes. So came back a little bit flustered. Look, in the end, these things don't really matter. I'm down here for a couple more days. I might be able to get back down here and shoot Sugarloaf, but I must admit the plan was to go further south and just explore a little bit more of the coast between Lewin and Cape Naturalist, and I think that's what I'll do. Sugarloaf Rock is a favourite of mine, and I can always come back to it. It's quite an easy location to get to, which is quite good. And if you're in WA, if you're from Perth, you're probably very familiar with the location, but if you aren't, I encourage you to get down here and shoot Sugarloaf Rock. It really is magnificent. One of my favourite locations in WA. Anyway, I hope you took something out of that video. If you did, please give the video a like. If you're new to the channel, please stick around and check out some of my other videos of landscape photography. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. But until next time, guys, thanks very much for watching.